For almost 200 million years, mammals have been perfecting one invention after another. For warm blood, live birth, milk, evolution has had longer than the dinosaurs ruled the earth to refine one of the most successful feeding systems ever created. So here's the strange question. If milk is such an incredible food, why can you happily drink milk from a cow, a goat, or even a sheep, but the idea of drinking milk from a tiger, a wolf, or a lion feels almost impossible? Is predator milk somehow poisonous? Or did evolution simply forget to make it useful for us? The answer reveals something much stranger. Because evolution never set out to make one universal milk recipe. It built thousands of different ones. People often imagine evolution as an engineer trying to create the perfect design. But that's not what it does. Evolution is closer to a neighborhood locksmith. Every key it makes is shaped for one specific lock. If a key opens one family's front door perfectly, there's no reason for it to fit every other house on the street. Milk works the same way. Every mammal's milk is a key designed for one lock, the biology of its own babies. And once you understand that, the mystery starts making sense. The very first mammals appeared over 200 million years ago. They were tiny, nocturnal creatures living alongside dinosaurs. Their young were born helpless, with immature digestive systems and almost no ability to regulate body temperature. Mothers began producing nutrient-rich secretions from skin glands, eventually evolving true mammary glands. From that point on, every lineage faced different problems. Some babies needed to grow enormous brains. Some needed to double their weight in days. Some had to survive freezing oceans. Some had to chase prey within weeks of birth. Milk evolved separately to solve each of those challenges. As carnivorous mammals like wolves, lions, and seals evolved into specialized hunters over tens of millions of years, their offspring inherited a very different developmental schedule from grazing animals. Predator cubs generally grow quickly, develop powerful muscles, and transition onto meat relatively early. Their mothers produce milk that's dramatically richer in fat and protein than the milk of most grazing mammals. Cow's milk contains roughly 3 to 4% protein and about 4% fat. Domestic dog's milk contains around 7 to 10% protein and can exceed 9% fat. Many seals go even further. Hooded seal milk contains around 60% fat, among the richest milks known in nature. Seal pups can gain several kilograms every single day before being abruptly weaned. That isn't because seal milk is better. It's because seal babies live in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Evolution gave them the key that fit their lock. One scientist who helped explain why mammals invest so differently in their young was Robert Trivers. His parental investment theory argues that parents evolve to allocate resources in whatever way maximizes the survival and future reproduction of their offspring. Milk is one of the clearest examples of that principle. A mother isn't producing food for every mammal. She's producing food for her own genes. Imagine two wolf pups born on the same day. One receives milk that's accidentally diluted to resemble cow's milk. The other receives normal wolf milk. The first pup grows more slowly, loses precious body heat, and struggles to build muscle before the pack begins introducing meat. The second develops normally and keeps pace with its litter mates. Generation after generation, mothers producing milk better suited to wolf pups leave more surviving descendants. Not because their milk is universally nutritious, because it's precisely matched. The key only has to fit one lock. But here's where the story becomes even stranger. It's not just fat and protein that differ. Milk is full of hormones, immune molecules, enzymes, sugars, bacteria-feeding compounds called oligosaccharides, and thousands of bioactive chemicals that actively shape a baby's developing body. Human milk contains an extraordinary diversity of human milk oligosaccharides, complex sugars that babies themselves can't digest. Instead, these sugars feed beneficial gut bacteria, especially bifidobacteria, helping build the infant microbiome and protecting against disease. Cow milk contains far fewer of these specialized compounds because calves need a different microbial community. Carnivores produce their own distinctive mixtures. Milk isn't simply nutrition, it's biological programming. And predator mothers are writing instructions meant for predators. Now you might wonder, if predator milk is so rich, wouldn't it actually be even healthier for us? Not necessarily. The richness itself becomes a problem. Very high-fat milk spoils rapidly, is difficult to digest for species that didn't evolve to consume it, and would provide far more energy than most human infants require. Excessive protein intake during infancy is also associated with altered growth patterns and has been investigated for links to later obesity risk, although the exact relationship remains an active area of research. In other words, richer doesn't automatically mean better. It means specialized. The specialization goes even deeper. Across mammals, lactation length varies enormously. Some seal mothers nurse for only about 4 days before permanently leaving their pups. Humans often nurse for years. Rabbits feed their babies only once every 24 hours, so their milk is exceptionally concentrated. Cows nurse calves repeatedly throughout the day, allowing more diluted milk. Every schedule reshapes the recipe. Every recipe reshapes the offspring. And here's the part evolution never cared about. Natural selection only sees whether milk helps babies survive long enough to reproduce. Once those offspring reach reproductive age, selection has already collected its reward. It doesn't matter whether wolf milk tastes pleasant to humans. It doesn't matter whether tiger milk is commercially practical. It doesn't matter whether a lion's milk would upset your stomach. Those questions occur completely outside the window where natural selection operates. The only question evolution ever asked was this: did this milk help lion cubs become lions? For decades, scientists often described milk mostly as food, a package of calories, proteins, fats, and vitamins. That picture has changed dramatically. Modern research shows milk acts as an intricate signaling system that influences immune development, gut microbes, metabolism, and even aspects of infant physiology. Researchers now see lactation as far more than simple nutrition, and many details of these signaling molecules are still being actively investigated. The old explanation wasn't entirely wrong. It was simply incomplete, because milk isn't just fuel. It's communication between generations. So why don't humans drink predator milk? In principle, you probably could drink some of it if it were collected safely from healthy animals. It isn't inherently poisonous simply because it comes from a carnivore. But predators produce very small amounts compared with domesticated grazing animals. They're dangerous to milk, and their milk is biologically tailored for fast-growing carnivore young rather than for human nutrition or agriculture. There has never been an evolutionary or practical reason for humans to build entire societies around it. And that brings us back to the locksmith. You spent your whole life assuming milk was one master key. It never was. Every mammal carries its own key, patiently carved over millions of years, fitting only the door evolution needed to unlock. And when you reach for another species' milk, you're discovering that nature was never trying to feed you. It was only ever trying to feed someone else's future.